Chairman Guthrie and Ranking Member Eshoo for holding this hearing, and to our panel for testifying. I also want to thank Chair Rogers for her continued work to move strong legislation through this committee. One of the bills that is being considered during this hearing is H.R. 1462, the Dairy Pride Act. This bipartisan bill, which I introduced along with Representative Custer and Representative Craig of this subcommittee, would require the FDA to enforce existing standards of the identity of dairy products. These standards of identity are critical as they establish common understandings for the American public as to what constitutes specific foods. Consumers rely on these standards to infer a certain nutritional value based simply on how a product is labeled. My first question is for you, Deputy Commissioner Jones. The FDA's existing standard is that a food should be deemed an imitation if it is a substitute for and resembles another food, but is nutritionally inferior to that food. Given this standard, given this FDA standard, how does the FDA view plant-based dairy substitutes that are currently being marketed and currently being sold in the dairy counters?
Thanks, Congressman. So the research that we've done of consumers is that consumers are not confused. The plant-based alternatives are not milk. As a matter of fact, they're purchasing them for exactly that reason, because they're looking for an alternative. That being said, our research also shows that consumers are not aware that oftentimes plant-based alternatives to milk are not nutritionally equivalent to milk. And so we have a scenario where they're looking for an alternative to milk purposefully. They're not confused by the soy milk. They're not confused that that's actually milk. They understand it's a plant-based alternative. That's what they're looking for, but they are not aware that such a product is nutritionally not equivalent to milk.
So buying or allowing that to be sold in a dairy case, is that not misleading then? Because nutritionally, it is not the same as a dairy product.
Thanks. So currently, our guidance, which is drafted, has not been finalized, encourages plant-based milk alternatives to identify nutritional equivalence or lack thereof on their product. We are taking right now comment on that, and ultimately we'll finalize depending on sort of where we ultimately think it's appropriate to inform consumers on the issue of nutritional equivalence.
Public health organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, have called on the FDA to reserve the use of the term milk for real dairy products, that which comes from a lactating mammal, that we learned in 5th or 6th grade, because there is confusion regarding the nutritional content, just as you pointed out, of other beverages. Understanding that courts may not allow FDA to require products to be called a specific term, has the FDA considered requiring disclaimers such as substitute or alternate for plant-based dairy imitations?
So before finalizing this guidance, we are considering both the nomenclature for the product along the lines you described, but also how to effectively convey information related to nutrition.
I think it is so important that the message resonates with the consumer that the nutritional value of dairy products is superior to these fake products. The nutritional value of dairy products is superior to these imitators and should not be sold in the dairy cases. Today's hearing is important. It is important that we can move forward and incorporate this feedback and work to find a solution for the labeling of these products and to address the mislabeling of products that are fakes or imitators. Simply urging companies to spell out the nutritional deficiency will not solve the problem of consumer confusion, which stems from assumptions based on the use of the term milk. And milk, I am concluding with you today, comes from a lactating mammal. And the imitators, the fakes, are simply not milk. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield.